Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to DRL ACC. I am your host and somewhat practice driver, Tyler Morgan. It is an honor to be with you here tonight as we are live from Silverstone for, I do believe this is round number 7 in our 12 race championship season. After a break last week, we are back on the road again, and as you can see, we are at the pinnacle of British racing motorsport at Silverstone Circuit. The F1 drivers just raced here sometime this weekend, and it was won by the Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton, finally getting on the board after not having won a race since the 2021 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. With that being said, there really is no relevance to that current situation here unless you're Stavko, which you're pretty much winning almost every race so far this season. However, Burt Macklin is the only Mercedes driver to have won a race this season, also not named Stavko or Saniga. That being said, trying to figure out all that goodness in time for the race. After this, we will have a 15-minute qualifying session, and then a 45-minute duration race with a mandatory pit stop, refueling, and tire change. Currently, we're riding on board with Stavko, but we will switch it up and ride on board with Burt Macklin, so far as the only driver not named Saniga and Stavko to win a race this season, as he pulls over and he's most likely done for the session. Next up on track, we'll go with Norris. Norris is another rookie driver who's been lighting it up this season. Kerbal left and then came back. Crazy. Sheena McGavin. It is the shooter of the McGavin. As he heads now down into the F1 pit straight, or the Hamilton straight, or in this case, Sir Lewis Hamilton straight. As he now heads past down Aintree down the Wellington Straight, heading towards Brooklands and Luffield. With now almost 7 minutes left to go in this free practice session. Currently, as it stands, there are 4 drivers out on the circuit. Hayes, McGavin, Fossman, and Bobby. Ricky Bobby trying to find an extra 10th or 2, maybe 4 tenths, trying to get ahead of Breeze. So far, not coming to this race is Zahara, as he is injured, as he is on the injured reserve list, and Chez, who will also not be at this race this week. As in, we go through Maggots and Beckett's. down through Chapel, down into the Hangar Straight towards Stowe. As he makes his way now, shooter towards the Vale chicane. And down onto the Hamilton Straight. Leung has joined the session now, so we're currently at 20 drivers on the session. Norris has decided to come out along with Hermione. No one really improving on time right now as it stands. Less than 4 minutes to go in this practice session, as time slowly ticks out from free practice session. Drivers trying to get that last little bit of extra time done. As it stands right now, Stavko currently leads in the free practice session with a 1:57.7. That is the fastest that I've ever seen anyone drive at this track. Power with a 1:58.7, good enough for second, and Rodriguez good with a 1:58.8, good enough for third. Norris you fourth, and Narati fifth, round out the top five. We're looking for some improvement on any driver, it seems, but no one wants to seem to improve their lap time. Ricky Bobby decides that the Vale chicane, no, it does not want to be a chicane, and just decides to cut it, and he's going to go into the pits. Hayes and Norris are in a little clump. Polinick and Hermione are in a little clump, and Fossman's all by himself as he goes through Maggots and Beckett's. Past Chapel and down the Hangar Straight. Two minutes left to go in this free practice session. Let me know your comments down below. Who do you think is going to win this race? Obviously, Stavko is the odds-on favorite for this race, considering he's a second ahead of the field. So better yet, who's going to come in second? Power, Rodriguez, Norris, Nairati, Macklin, Kerbal, Ito, Braun, Castle. Heck, we might even see a Pro-Am in second place. You never know. Things have been crazy here at DRL ACC this season, with with this being the 7th round. Don Fossman of the Party Pickles currently, as it stands right now, showing no improvement. There is currently 2 drivers out on track. Fossman, you are currently looking at, and Norris. Not Lando Norris. But he also is... No, he's in a Ferrari, so that doesn't matter. "55 seconds left to go in this free practice session. Odds are Norris won't make the line to start his flying lap. I don't know why Hayes is sitting at the end of the pit lane. That's just crazy talk. Yep, here he goes. The only one that can start another flying lap will be Fossman. And he is not going to. So that will be the end of this free practice session. In 20 seconds, we will go to a qualify. We will go into qualifying. The question is who will be out first? Who will we ride on board with first? Part of me thinks it's going to be Power.
Green light, go, go, go.
And sure enough, what do you know? It's like I know my predictions and my drivers well. It isn't going to indeed be the maximum Power. And follows shortly behind is actually Brees. As in tradition with DRL ACC, we will ride on board with Power for the first flying lap of this qualifying session. 15 minutes to go. Already 1 minute has passed and they're not even completed, and they're not even at the start-finish line yet. Qualifying and not getting track limits violations will be very, very important. Someone has disappeared. Oh, it was Nairati there for a minute. Brees right on the back of Power. If this was a race session, I would be shocked. But it is indeed not a race session. It is a qualifying session. So, with 13 minutes to go, Power is going to start bringing all of the, quote, power to this as he begins his first flying lap of the session with Brees not too far behind. And down into we go. Through Copse. Legendary moments have happened there. Verstappen, Lewis, Leclerc, and then Maggots and Beckett's is shortly after Copse. It's a winding, crazy flow part of the circuit. You absolutely have to nail it correctly or else your lap's pretty much not over and done with, but it's not very good as he now heads down the Wellington Straight. Or sorry, the Hangar Straight. The Wellington Straight is second. Down he goes through Stowe. Takes a little bit of the dirt, but that's fine. Want to use all curb on exit here down the Hamilton Straight. Brake just when you see that little patch of green on your left-hand side. Nick this inside curb. Try and stay away from that curb there. Nick it on the apex. Down in towards Village. as he goes through the Flop Arena Aintree section and down the Wellington Straight. Heading now down into Brooklands and Luffield. I'm trying to combine the two, I swear. Takes Brooklands well, takes Luffield just as well. Brees still right on the back of him. And what time will that be for our friends at Maximum Power? That will stand as a 1:59.8 Breeze with a 2:01.3, Hayes with a 2:05. Kerbal's next, 2 flat 0.5. Polinick goes faster than both of them, 1:59.9. Next across the line is Malott and Rodriguez. Rodriguez takes provisional pole right now. Next across the line will be Ito and Macklin. Ito 6th, Macklin 3rd, Hermione 5th, Braun 8th, Frank Castle 6th. Next across the line is going to be Leung. What can he provide? He'll go 12th. Next across the line is going to be Norris. He must have invalidated his lap. That was Fossman that just crossed the line. He invalidated. Shooter puts himself 9th. Next across the line will be Nairati. A lot of struggles for Team on the Rush this season. Hoping for a bit of a bounce back here. It's a very much needed bounce back. Crossing the line now. What can the front row sitter here last season provide? He invalidates, so he'll have to go again. Power looking absolutely exponential as he brings in more time. Goes back on provisional pole. Brees also finding a little bit of extra time, puts himself into the top 10. Hayes invalidated. Kerbal, what can he do? Puts himself into the top 3. Next across the line is going to be Polinick. No time gained there. Rodriguez definitely not gaining any time. Malott spins out. Hermione's not going to gain any time. Macklin's going to put himself into the top three again. Hermione, no gain for him. Next across the line with a valid lap is going to be Leung. Stays 13th. Norris puts himself into the top 5. Don Fossman will finally get a lap time on the board. Shooter McGavin following behind is going to put himself in the top 5. Puts himself 4th. Ricky Bobby is invalidated. 77 is going to start his first flying lap. Ito's going to set out on his. Nairati looking like a nice time. He had a front row. He had a front row spot here last time. Stavko's still in the pits with 7 minutes to go left in this qualifying session. Saniga says he's going to be cutting it close, so let's see. Let's see how close Nairati can cut it. Puts himself on the 2nd row this time. Power is going to increase his lead. Put himself on more head-on pole. Brees goes into the pits. Hayes puts himself in the top 10. Kerbal is still in the top 5. Polnick puts himself 6th. Rodriguez puts himself 2nd. Armani finding a little bit of time, getting a little bit of a tow from Balute. Puts himself 8th. Braun and Castle. Braun puts himself in the top 10. Castle puts himself in the top 5. The Sandbag Syndicate taking the sandbags out of their cars today. Norris puts himself in the top 3. Leung still finds himself 15th. Fossman finding a lot of time. Puts himself 16th over Malott. No driver close with a valid lap. The only one that's the closest to the line with a valid lap, funny enough, is Macklin. Ostafko's finally going to leave the pits. As we follow on board with Stavko. Reese is going to be next across with a valid lap, but he's so far behind on time. Braun's close with some time. There's 5 minutes left to go in this qualifying session. Saniga's running out of time to join the session. He said he was going to be cutting it close. Braun goes up into 11th. Norris is not improving, but Leung is. Still finds himself 15th. Next cross line with a valid lap time is going to be Ito and Nairati. Towards Brooklyn's in left field. Nairati looking at almost 5/10 of time. Ito looking at around 7/10 of time. Ito will find himself 9th. Where will Nairati find himself? In the top 3. Absolute banger of a lap. He'll put himself on the front row, barring Stavko getting a lap involved. Go faster, Kerbal, easy 57s. No, not easy 57s. The only one that can do 57s right now is the man that we are currently on board watching, and that's our world champion. He's the only one that can seem to do 57s right now. But he is running out of time to get a lap time on the board. Not to mention his competition is going to be cutting it close to the time because he needs to join in this qualifying session, or else he can't join during the race. As Power and Fossman return to the pits, that is their qualifying session. They can't get another one out. So that is it for our provisional pole sitter Power. As Saniga does join in the final waiting moments, he will start from the back of the grid in his Honda in his Honda. So at least he's in, but it's not going to be easy for him as Stavko comes across the line and comes in second. He's got at least one more lap to beat that time. As 77 comes across the line, he'll be ahead of Balyut. Suniga will be guaranteed last after not starting a lap. Hayes crosses the line next. He can start another... Actually, I think he's double invalidated, or at least that's what it looks like on my screen. Next across the line is going to be Burt Macklin. He's looking to try and at least get ahead of Norris. Macklin just does get ahead of Norris, but is behind Nairati. He can start another flying lap at least. Nairati bails out on his final flying lap, so he'll start no higher than fourth. Braun comes across the line. He can start another flying lap, but that is it. Norris won't make it. Leon won't make it. That is the end of qualifying. So currently as it stands, Stavko, Christian, Macklin, Brees, and Braun all have lap times they can still fight for. Other than that, it's for naught. And Stavko right now has an easy pole position in his grasp as long as he doesn't take track limits on the final turn. And that is pole position for our world champion. Hermione invalidates his lap. Okay, driver Christian comes in at 18th. So it's just down to Macklin and Brees. Macklin is improving. He needs to find a 10th and a bit to get past Nairati and get on that second row. Brees invalidates his lap by going off, so it'll just be up to Macklin. Macklin has a little bit of an oversteer, and that will be it for him. He will not be able to catch Nairati now. Another snap of oversteer means that's it. That's qualifying over. Stavko will start on pole position. With that being said, we will start at the rear lineup on the grid. He's one of the more faster drivers on the grid, but he came in late into qualifying. He was a game race decision, but however, he's here. He's got Balyut for company just ahead of him to his right. Qualifying 21st, that's a good qualifying position for him. Ricky Bobby currently stands 20th while he has Malott, the American stooge, another amateur driver for company. Ricky Bobby and Malott have almost been tied to the hip so far these races when they drive together, so it'll be another interesting battle for him. Don Fossman is the lone party pickle. He has no Sanchez for company, so a party pickle 1-2 seems unlikely. So let's see if he can battle it out and win for his teammate who is not here. To get onto third place, so he's hoping that those technical issues don't rob him of a hopeful win in Silverstone. Sitting 14th is Hayes in the Baby Pig Racing AMG. Another good Pro-Am qualifying showing for him in the top 15. Braun keeps him company. Not the lowest pro, that belongs to Saniga at the back of the grid, but Braun sits 13th, second lowest out of the pros. Hermione currently sits just outside the top 10 with Shooter McGadden for company. They have been fighting it out all season long. So it'll be another battle off the line for them. They'll get to make their acquaintance not too long. Robert Ito just makes it into the top 10. He's been a high-flying rookie as of late, but sadly, he's missed a few races. Glad to have him back, but he sits just outside the top 10. He'll be looking for a miracle to try. Not a miracle. Polnick, the highest Pro-Am qualified. Just leading in the 5th row. Good top 10 qualifying for him, as now we get into the pros. Kerbal currently stands 8th, and he's got Frank Castle for company on the 4th row. Kerbal, again, had struggles. A much-needed bye week was needed for all the drivers so we could get back to Silverstone with a fresh mindset. Castle in the Sandbag Syndicate keeps him for company. Norris Yu, another rookie that has been on fire as of late. A lot of top 3 finishes. He's going to have another Sandbag Syndicate in Burt Macklin for company. The only driver not named Stavko and Saniga to win a race this season. Scribble says, good luck, degenerates. I'm hoping that is not the case. Salas. It would be very unfortunate if my audio was cutting out. Currently, Nairati stands 4th. He's got Rodriguez for company. Rodriguez is welcome back onto the grid after he said he was taking a leave of absence from racing. We welcome him back on the grid with open arms, and he currently sits in the top 3 position. Nairati has had a lot of technical issues after having a very, very good stream, or after a very good first race of the season. So we're hoping to get that bounce back. And Max Power continues to just absolutely destroy every rookie record book we have as he sits P2. And as always, it's either Saniga or Stavko that sits in pole position. And Stavko currently holds that reins right now in the Aston Martin. So with one of the fastest drivers, Saniga, at the back, and the fastest driver, Stavko, at the front, and all of the drivers in the middle, less than 15 seconds to go until we start this race here. What are your predictions? Let me know in the chat below who is going to win, who is going to be the biggest surprise, and who's going to be the biggest flop of this race. Hopefully everyone stays alive long enough that we can have all the drivers through the first lap. As the formation lap begins, they'll drive double file, stay at a 70 km/h speed limit. Stavko on the inside, Power on the outside. I feel like Power is favored here. Grab a bib, grab your favorite beverage and drink, because the green flag waves and we drive here at DRL ACC, and there's a massive pileup back at the start-finish line. It is absolute mayhem, as it seems, as there were drivers just sideways. Massive implications, as there are drivers already sideways, and it's just mayhem on my boards right now as it stands. Currently leading Power, Stavko, Nairati. Rodriguez is following suit behind. Norris, Kerbal, Macklin, Castle, Hermione. Breeze now into the top 10. We'll have to look back at what happened there, but it was an absolute massive collision into the back. Didn't even get to turn 1 is correct. That was absolutely insane. In the back. I will check the replays once we get through lap 1, but we'll head to the helicam shot right now. Currently Power leads, getting chased by Stavko and Nairati. Rodriguez has his own fights, both with Norris all the way up to Castle. Hermione and Braun are pretty much on their own. Brees leading the backfield right now. Ito looking to get ahead of Balyut after what seemingly He was involved in a massive collision that involved pretty much the entire backfield. As Power falls down, he's sideways. Stavko also falls a little bit down the field. Power having to wait for every driver to get past. Nairati currently takes the lead of the race. He is followed by Norris, Macklin, Castle, Kerbal. What in the world is happening? As Rodriguez is getting passed by Hermani as it stands. Can he hold his line? No, he can't. Stavko's looking to get involved. Breeze still holding into a top 10 position. Breeze trying to overtake Stavko up the inside as they now head to... They forgot to take their turn 1 anesthesias. That is insane. Like I said, Nairati currently leads. Breeze and Stavko are fighting it out, but I think Stavko's going to win out in that battle as that braking board gets turned to dust. Leon and Malott fight it out as it stands right now. I do believe that's Power trying to get ahead of Ito as they head now down in towards Maggots and Beckett's. Power will win out that battle just fine. Nairati at Silverstone has a chance to get redemption for what happened last time. Stavko just looking to try and get ahead. Saniga's up into 19th. He's got Ricky Bobby to pass now on the straight. Braun fighting Stavko right now as it stands. As they head now down towards the Vale chicane. Who's going to be last on the brakes? Stavko's going to try and bomb it up the inside and does successfully. However, Braun's not going to let that go as he goes up the inside. But I do believe Stavko has made that overtake stick. Yes, he has. Christian and Balyut are fighting it out. Saniga's trying his best to catch up with the rest of the grid. Looking for close battles here as Ito and Power are trying to catch up with the rest of the grid. Breeze still sitting in the top 10 position. Nairati doing his best to stay ahead of Norris. Macklin and Castle in a brilliant position to make this a Mercedes 1-2, depending on how things go. Rodriguez is chasing Hermani, but Stavko is not too far behind. Polnick gets ahead of Balyut. Power gets ahead of him a lot. There's so much to look at. That was actually insane what occurred. K-Driver goes off. That's going to allow Ricky Bobby to pass. Power gets ahead of him a lot. Sorry that I looked away from that at that moment. Leon looking to try and get Fossman into Cops. Does it get it? Will they make contact? Yes, they will. Oh my goodness gracious. Malott having to take evasive action. Barely stays alive. Or sorry, that was Power, mind you. Power had to take evasive action not to kill him. And that is going to be Leung falling all the way down the order. Did he make contact with someone? Needs to be questioned if there was if he got damage. Rodriguez defending from Stavko. Ito giving Power a little bit of a boost. Malott still chasing Fossman. Braun wants back at Stavko. Stavko does go off the track. Saniga's right behind McGavin. There's so many things going on right now. I can't keep it all. Norris is right on the back of Nairati for the battle of first place. Saniga does get by. Shooter McGavin on the Hamilton straight. Power is going to try and get Malott here. As you have really fast drivers catching up to amateur drivers who have finished that, who have gotten lucky enough through the carnage and stayed ahead. Polnick now up to 19th. This is absolute chaos and bedlam, and we're just past 6 minutes. There's still plenty of race to go as Saniga's gonna get about. Oh my goodness, there's massive contact between Rodriguez and Power. They're gonna lose a couple places as Ito and McGavin are gonna try and benefit. Power's second place now down into 17th. Saniga's just climbing up the leaderboards from last place. Stavko still behind Rodriguez. Rodriguez defending this for his life. Nairati still sitting in a first place position. He led laps here last season, but then a technical issue robbed him of a chance to win. He won't have that technical issue now, but he's just got to hold his own as Power goes into the pits. Macklin has a spin out. So down he falls more. He falls out of the top 10. Now, this is just bedlam and madness as Stavko finally gets past Rodriguez, is released. There is so much that is happening right now. Stavko still definitely has a chance to win this race. That is not in doubt. But what is in doubt is the future as it stands, as it holds for everybody else. Now Roddy doing his best to defend Norris. Kerbal definitely is in a position where he can definitely get this win. He's just got to get past Frank Castle first. Ricky Bobby and Polinick trading places. Sanika gets past Fossman. Stavko looking to get by Hermani. This is just chaos and bedlam racing as Stavko's going to go try up the inside, and it looks like he's going to make it stick. Rodriguez follows suit and cuts up. That's a little bit of a contact. And that's going to send Rodriguez wide. That's a little bit, in my opinion, a little bit advantageous. Ito's going to get past him a lot. Breeze maybe looking for a chance on Rodriguez due to the contact. Stavko now into the top 5. Breeze almost in the top 8 now. As Macklin pits most likely for damage. Team on the rush, hearing the critics and fighting back, it seems. As Macklin will tumble down the order. Sanika, who started last, is now in 11th. Braun looking to get Hermani this lap. This is just utter chaos right now. What could happen is they are just battling right now, Hermani and Braun, as they are going to go side by side now into the Vale chicane. Norris had a little bit of an uh-oh. Nairati has gotten crucially out of the 1 second mark. There is no such thing as DRS here, but Brees now on the back of Rodriguez. Rodriguez got past, but he's still in this fight. Hayes catching up to Brees quite quickly. Castle has had a bit of a moment. That's allowed Kerbal, Stavko, Braun. Oh, he's just cut the track. That's going to keep him ahead of everybody else right now. Wonder if they'll be on the team. Stavko wanting to get back into the lead of this race. Norris already back to within 1 second of Nairati. Kerbal and Stavko have fought it out for seasons and seasons. Blue flags are being waved. I don't know to who. For some strange reason it says Castle is behind everybody. I don't know why all of a sudden he's 20th. That must be a visual glitch or something, because he's getting blue flagged, which seems crazy to me, because he should not be last. I don't know how this is working. They're going to go 3 wide, though, into this corner. As both of them go wide, and oh my goodness, Stavko trying to get back on the track almost nails Kerbal. Again, I don't know how Castle is in 21st. That makes no sense to me. As Sanika's going to get by Hayes. Kerbal still trying to chase Stavko. But Stavko's been allowed to let loose. He's the fastest man on this track, bar none. Castle missed the sector line and lost the lap. There's a place where you go off, you can miss the sector line and your lap won't. Oh. And that's Burt Macklin gone. The sandbags, the Burt Macklin of the Sandbag Syndicate is gone. That is a DNF, and Castle, because he missed his sector line, is down a lap. That is insane, and that might be a retirement for Frank Castle. Ito's gonna get ahead of him a lot. What is happening here? Nairati and Norris are just casually fighting it out for P1. Well, boys, here's the problem. Stavko's catching up, and he wants that race lead back desperately. Saniga right behind Brees. Brees in a top 10 position, leading in the Pro-Ams. Or leading in the amateurs, sorry. A little bit of a bump draft by Saniga there. Sorry, I saw point one. Brees still trying to hold on here. I almost was off track, but it looks like Brees and Saniga are still fighting it out, it seems. But it looks like Saniga's going to all but win out that battle. Polnick gets past Ricky Bobby. Hayes still on the back of Brees as well. I want to look at my race control. I want to look at the race control. I want to look at the incident sheet. But I am terrified. I am scared. Norris looking for any slip up from Nairati. Any little touch, any little mistake as Rodriguez is going to get by Hermani. Any little mistake. But the problem is that Stavko is catching. And he is catching mightily quick. Macklin DNFing. Castle a lap behind because he missed the sector line. Norris can't get closer to Nairati if he tried. And Stavko's not too far away. Norris constantly getting the better exit. This is what he sees. He's down to point one. Is he going to look for a move on Nairati? Nairati places it in the center of the track. Oh, maybe thinking up the inside. It was there. Nairati giving a car's width and nothing more. Norris constantly getting the better exit, but Nairati just defending it well. This is what the passenger would see. A potential move of the inside was thought about, but Norris backs off of it. Nairati doing an excellent job defending. However, this is allowing Stavko to get closer and closer. Stavko only 1.5 seconds away from Norris, 2 seconds away from Nairati. And that's going to be Ito looking, trying to get past Fossman. Will do so to great effect. That will put Ito just outside of the top 10. Nairati and Norris still fighting it out. And look who's coming right behind. It is Stavko. And just like that, Stofko is within a second of both of them now. Nairati, Norris, it's been nice knowing you, but it's time to take your medicine as McGavin will get past Malott just before Begets and Beckett's. Leung will get past Balyut into 18th. And down we go into the Vale Chicane, as we now have a three-way fight for the lead of this race. Nairati, not gonna lie, it's been fun with you leading this race, but you must now bow down to your world champion, Jacob Stofko, who still has to, mind you, get by Norris in order for this to work. But with the race almost, not halfway into the race, but we're getting close to almost 20 minutes elapsed in this race. Does Nairati maybe think about going for the undercut here? Malott's going to get past Fossman. Power's going to get past Leung, who boxes. What do you think about doing here? The fastest way to get out of this situation would be to box. Nairati going a little bit deep as Norris and him make contact, I do believe, there. Or it looked really awkward for it. Stofko, you might think about going for Norris here. Saniga's going to get past Hermione. Stofko backs out. He thought about it maybe for a moment. Oh, here's his opportunity, though. Norris went a little wide, and that's going to free Stofko. And that is dangerous for Nairati, because now Nairati no longer has that buffer. And that is Saniga getting past Hermione now up into 7th. Bree still holding a top 10 position, currently ahead of Hayes. Malott still ahead of Fossman. Everywhere else in the grid, it's chaos. Nairati now has to defend from the world champion. And I do believe that is going to be Stofko retaking the lead of this race. Actually, he goes wide and almost comes off the track. Actually goes off the track and re-enters. Nairati takes the lead back. As up the inside goes Nairati. Norris going to try and make this a little bit of a three-way action here. That might allow Stofko to keep the lead of this race. It will. And off goes Stofko into the sunset. Norris getting a triple, or in this case double, boost. Nairati defends it well, though. Does Nairati or Norris think about boxing yet? Do one of them think, hey, maybe we can get the undercut going? And Nairati thinks what I think, and he's going into the box to try the potential undercut. He's got to make sure he doesn't speed in the pit lane, though, as a Stofko or drive-through would be criminal after everything he's done. And that is Breeze going off the track, I think, somewhat. And that's going to allow Hayes... Actually, no. I guess he was going to box, but that was just incredibly weird. And Braun's trying to chase Kerbal as now they go into the top 5 as both Team On The Rush members box. There's still so much on the track that is to play for. I need to go back, though, and look at turn 1. Or in this, not even turn 1, really, just straight line 1. Because that was multiple cars in quick succession that just died. We'll look at it from the Helicam and Saniga's point of view. Oh my god, Sheeter McGavin just got treated like literally got treated like oh my goodness, the amount of contacts is insane right now. Alright, what happened here? that's what happened. And that's Breeze leaving the pits. Same with Nairati. Nairati exited a while back. I'm just looking at all the replays. Yeah, nothing. Nothing. Nobody can do there. That's just. Honestly, that reminds me of the incident down in France. Polnick's gonna get ahead of Fossman. There's so many other incidents to look at, but like, this race is so exciting right now. So Stavko and Power did come together. I do want to see that. I want to see what happened there. Oh my. That's a little scary. Kerbal and Rodriguez also came together. I think that was after the contact. My God. Just sideswipes him into oblivion. That's crazy. Polnick comes in the box. What happened with Brees there? He wasn't getting blue flag. Did they just make contact? I think so. I literally think they just made contact. Well, at least he fixed him somewhat, but I don't think the tap on the rear is going to go appreciated. As Fossman's still now trying to catch him a lot. Brees, Bobby, Leung, Nairati, and Power have boxed Frank Castle since DNF'd. Both Sandbag Syndicate drivers have since DNF'd from this race. Polnick now heads into the box as well. All the drivers are starting to spread out now, except for Braun and Kerbal. So Stavko boxes along with Hermione. Oh my goodness, so many people just went into the box at the same time. Hayes, Hermione, Stavko, McGavin, Fossman all just boxed. So as Hayes sits, and just like that, Stavko's out. Where will Nairati go? He's got to get ahead of him. But I think that Stavko is just barely, and I mean barely, going to come out ahead. Cold tires or not, I think he's just going to stay out ahead. So Nairati's hopes of a race win might be dashed due to Stavko not being taken out as much. Stavko weaving down the straight, trying to get warmth into those tires while also breaking the toe. As McGavin gets behind Power. Power having done the massive undercut. Zuniga still having yet to box, is probably thinking of the massive overcut. As Kerbal and Braun pit along with Norris. Zuniga doesn't box, so he takes the lead of this race. That's crazy. And Saniga just pulled a fast one. That's the way that I see this, is you just somehow pulled a fast one on everyone. And is somehow going to win this race from going from last to first, like Stavko did. That would be absolutely phenomenal. Now Roddy's still behind Stavko, so his chances of a race winner are all but dashed unless, you know, unless Stavko makes a mistake or somebody hits him. Malott doesn't box either, so he's going to inherit second place from this race. Norris is actually going to be behind a few drivers, so that might allow... Oh my goodness, has the overcut worked here? Oh my. Norris is way ahead. And by I mean way ahead, I mean way ahead. The overcut having worked wonders. See, that's crazy. Wait a minute. If that's the case, as Power will get back ahead of McGavin. Oh, never mind. I was just dedopiting. If that's the case, what are the odds that Saniga takes the lead of this race if he boxes right now? Or at least comes in where Norris, Stavko, and Nairati are. Wait a minute. Things might just get interesting here. As Bobby and Polinick are going to find it out. Just before the pit straight. Now hold up. Wait a minute. Something might not be right here. Do not tell me that Saniga is just going to go last to first challenge here at Silverstone. Like, oh, Bobby, what a beautiful overtake. Polinick almost loses control, but what a beautiful overtake. McGavin's still behind Power. Power having done the fucking undercut of the century. Malott still also has yet to box. Is now holding up the other drivers. Still will not pit. Saniga, you gonna get out of the pit box anytime soon, my good man? He now just gets out of his pit box. He'll end up behind Kerbal. So there is hope for him here. As Norris will take the lead of this race. Nairati hoping for... Nope. Nairati was hoping for his sake that Malott would block Stavko. He did not. Saniga definitely in a position now to still win this race. That is a given. That is, by all means, still a possibility, depending on how stuff goes. Nairati's hope is that Norris and Stavko kill each other, and then he has an opportunity to take the lead of this race once again. He's now behind Malott. He's hoping Malott just gets out of his way. Which Malott is not doing, but he does not have to because he's currently sitting third. He just hasn't made a pit stop yet. Well, Nairati completes the overtake. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Stavko now within a second of Norris. Gavin right on the back of Power, and he's going to try up the inside. But Power sees it coming and makes a defense plan accordingly. However, McGavin still wants this. He's not taking no for an answer, it seems. He's going to go try around the outside. They're going to go side by side together because of this. And who's going to take the... That was a little touch and go there, if I do say so myself. Kerbal is currently right behind Malott, so this seems to be a battle of effort proportions as, oh my god, McGavin's going to try the switchback Magoo! But Power defends it quite well. Thank you very much. Have a nice day, he says. However, that's going to allow McGavin to get on the Power first. As this is an epic battle between two powerweights, and just as I say that, McGavin goes off the that was scary. That's going to allow Power to somehow maintain the lead of this race. Breeze is going to try and get involved in this position, however. And Malott's finally going to box and allow everyone else the peace and sanity that allows that. Stavko is now also going to take the lead of this race because Norris is just going to allow it. No defense from the McLaren driver. Nairati currently sitting in a podium position as it stands right now. So Nairati's only hope of a race win is that Norris dive bombs Stavko here and just nicks him. That sadly does not occur. Norris goes very deep. That will allow Nairati some time to catch up, but not enough to make a difference. And ladies and gentlemen, Stavko is your winner of this Grand Prix. I say that with 13 minutes to go because I'm hoping that something happens. McGavin still not letting power out of his sight as it seems right now. Hermione is interested in joining this battle as well as Breeze. Breeze sitting outside of the top 10. He wants that top 10 finish. He's hoping that at least one of these three drivers somehow has a spin or ends up sideways on the track, hopefully not impeding him, and then he can get along with his day and get into the top 10. Currently, as it stands right now, I'm just going to take a look at the race control. There are, oh my god, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. "23 incidences currently on tap for the stewards to take a look at this week. My god, help us all. Kerbal is catching up to Nairati, though. Not catching up quickly, but Nairati did go off, I think, so he's struggling a little bit. McGavin really wants that spot from Power. Power having done, like I said, the undercut of the fucking millennium. Sorry for the swear. But, like, McGavin really wants this place, and Power does not have the tires for this. After pitting, like, lap 3. So that's going to allow McGavin the opportunity to pass Power and say, thank you very much, I appreciate your defense, but I'm leaving you now, goodbye. Hermione now is looking to be next for Power. I don't think Breeze is going to be able to get there. He's going to have to defend from Hayes shortly. Kerbal now almost within the 1 second mark of Nairati, so Nairati's true podium is in current danger. As he did technically all but podium in the first race of the season at the Red Bull Ring. But that was taken away after, I think it was Norris and Ito moved into the pro categories, so. There's less than 10 minutes to go in this race session, as we slowly approach 1 a.m. Eastern Time. Kerbal now within 1 second. Knowing how I know Nairati is going to defend that with his life. Hermione right on the back of Power now. To the over double-digit people watching this stream, thank you so much for spending your now Wednesday morning, Tuesday overnight with us. We at DRL thank you for your participation and your viewership, and we hope to see you next week when we go into Centerton, I think it's called. But yeah, the big story is the Sandbag Syndicate's both DNFing. That is just insane stats. So, that's going to hurt their Constructors' Championship very, very hard. Like I said, Kerbal's within a second, but Nairati's still not in the danger zone just yet. Hayes right on the back of Breeze. Breeze, as it stands right now, is gonna win in the amateur division. McGavin will win in the Pro-Am division, and obviously Stavko's gonna win just straight up, because lol. So far, Kerbal's about 3/10 a lap faster than Nairati. He's doing a good job defending Hayes so far. Wait, who was that just went to the pits? Oh, that was Polinick. Unfortunate for him. Well, Hayes thought about going for a move, but it's not there. Hermione also wanted to go for a move, but it's also not there. And Nairati loses out to Kerbal. I said Power because I saw the Springfield Motorsport, but nope. So Nairati's going to sit in 4th. Still, after some hardships this season, a top 5 finish for the team on the rush driver, and Breeze winning out in the amateur class is nothing to be scoffed at. What happened there? Is that going to be more content? Yup. My God, Buttasai, what happened there? On your right. My thoughts on that. Nairati's still chasing Kerbal. He's not out of the wood. He's not out of play yet. But here's the one problem. He's got the runner-up behind him in the Uwu Honda car. So there might be some trouble. No matter what, it looks like to be a very good bounce back for the team on the rush drivers after a brutal hardship so far this season. So, with almost 5 minutes, with just about 5 minutes left to go in this race, were your predictions correct? Were they wrong? Saniga gets a little bit of stir crazy there on the curves, and that is actually Hermione that is going slowly. Oh, Breeze snap drift oversteer. That's going to allow Hayes the opportunity to say thank you very much. I appreciated your first defense. Now guess what? You get to be where I was. And that is going to be curtains for Breeze. And that's him down into 12th. Saniga now on the back of Nairati. Nairati struggling with the second set of tires, and Saniga is just going to go up the inside and... Oh. Snap of oversteer for him. He's going to get the better exit, though. And I think this is going to be all but curtains for Nairati as he's going to drop down into... contact. And K-Driver's going to get a drive-through for track limits. And Nairati will drop down into 5th. Oh, frick, that's enough. That's another... Oh, my goodness, Nairati just keeps it steady. That's all he needs to do now is just keep it steady. He's struggling on those tires, it seems. And he's on the back of Hermione. This is the closest battle. there's so much that has happened. There's so many incidences. What happened here? Okay, wait a minute. I'm looking at the wrong incident, it seems. Oh, Jenkies. And there goes Kerbal just flying away. And he's still wanting her money. But Hayes goes really wide. It's not going to do him any favors. So, this will not be the last lap. We'll see about like 2 more laps due to the fact that Stavko's in the 158s right now. Crazy Irish man. He's not Irish, but still crazy nevertheless. Sniga actually might get into the top 3 after starting last. That is honestly incredible. My goodness. That is some racing there between Kerbal and Saniga. He's right on the back of Hermione though. There's a battle for 3rd and a battle for that final 10th place position.
Leaders on final lap now.
And the leader is now on the final lap, so any of these battles will count. So who will take the final step on the podium? Will it be Kerbal or will it be Saniga, who started from last place, mind you? Bree's actually entering this battle now as it stands. They'll still have another lap to do this. I say that and Breeze all but takes himself out of that. But there's still plenty of time for that to occur. I say that, and Kerbal and Saniga are currently having a side-by-side battle here. Nairati trying to catch up as Saniga goes hella wide. Nairati, oh no. Nairati gets a track limit violation drive-through penalty on the last lap. I think that'll add 20 or 30 seconds onto his time. That'll drop him down just past, I think, Rodriguez's So I think he'll still stay in the top 10, but that's unfortunate. But still, after everything that's happened this season, I think he'll take that. So, despite having earlier contact and a little bit of unluck, Stavko wins at Silverstone. Norris will finish second. Saniga, I do believe, will take third. Now, mind you, Hermione and Hayes are still fighting out. Brees has fallen somewhat behind. Ito is just like, oh boy, please give me 12th place. Plus 30 seconds will be given to Nairati for not serving his drive-through, but that will get, like I said, he'll finish behind Rodriguez, and that'll be it. Ito looking for Breeze, and he's gonna get it. He's gonna get that move completed. So we'll leave that on the chase. I think Hermani's gonna hold just fine here. Braun Rodriguez will most likely finish ahead of Nairati, so Nairati will drop down to 7th. Power will go. Oh. Power goes 7th. I don't even know. McGavin 8th, Hermione 9th, Hayes 10th, Ito 11th, Breeze 12th. Fossman and Malott still need to complete their laps as well. They're almost done. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us for the Silverstone race. Great race, says Sam, even though the Sandbag Syndicates had a very unfortunate mishap for Silverstone. A very rare bad showing for them, but making their namesake take their namesake. As it stands right now, Stavko wins, followed by Norris and Saniga completing out the top 3 in the pro and the podium places. Kerbal and Braun round out the top 5. Rodriguez Nairati with a plus 30-second penalty. Power, McGavin, Hermione round out the top 10. Hayes, Ito, Brees, Fossman, Malott round out the top 15. Bobby, Balut, Leon, K-Driver, and Polinick round out the top 20. And Castle and Macklin, the DNFs. Thank you so much for joining us this week at Silverstone. Join us next week when we go live from, oh my goodness, what is that place called again? Oh my goodness. I want to make sure I get the name right so I don't butcher it. I think it's Centerton? Yes, Centerton. Join us next week when we go there. Thank you so much for joining us here at DRL ACC. Thank you and good night.